Hey guys, it's Sharon here, and I am here today to do the flip through of my Hobonichi for the second part of January. Now, I did January 1st through 15th in part 1 of this video, which I'll go ahead, or in part 1 of this, which I'll go ahead and link that video in the description of this video here. So anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get on with it. Now, as I was saying in part 1 of the January flip through, I don't really know what I'm going to be doing with these weekly pages. Like, I'm not really using them just yet. These are the weekly pages that you get with this. But I think what I'm going to be doing, because I'm really not using any of this for planning purposes, really. I think what I'm going to end up doing with this is to just take each week and then put in the highlights of each week, which I will show you that whenever I get that done. So, I think that's what I'm going to be doing with that. So anyway, let's go ahead and get to where we left off. Let's see. Okay. So just to recap, on the 14th was the Thursday, and that was when Alan Rickman died, which I'm a big Harry Potter fan, and I was really, really bummed about that. So we're going to go ahead and move this bookmark out of the way. Okay, so for the 15th, which was on a Friday, I drank quite a bit of coffee. I was actually pretty wired up on coffee that day. I drank quite a bit of coffee. We had Poor Boys for dinner that night, so I just kind of journaled about that. And then later on that evening, as I was listening to my audiobook, which I believe I was still on The Wastelands at that time. Excuse me. I was still on The Wastelands, or had just started Wizard and Glass or something like that. So what I did was as I was listening to that, I took out one of my adult coloring books and was coloring a page in that. This is the Geometrics one, which I really, really like. Okay, on the 16th, which is Saturday, again, more coffee. A lot of coffee. And then later on that day, we went out to dinner. It was for my birthday dinner. My husband always takes me out for my birthday, and it was kind of late this year because we weren't able to go out actually on the day because, number one, we were supposed to go to a meeting, but it got canceled that night, and then it was just, the weather was just really, really too bad to go anywhere. So we didn't really do anything on that day, so we just did it this Saturday here, which is fine. So, and I was actually going to take a picture of what I had for dinner and put it in here, but I forgot, and I just started pigging out. So I just went on the internet and just kind of grabbed this shrimp, because I had a big shrimp dinner, so I pasted that in there. It's not really what it looked like. That it's not exactly a replica of what I had, but it serves its purpose. And then, of course, we got done, and we were just so tired that we just kind of came home and crashed. So, yep, we just came home and crashed. I put a picture of the bed there, and then the Z's, to resemble sleep. And then over here on a Sunday, I had our singing group's rehearsal, our choir's rehearsal, our Prairie Singers rehearsal. And then I have a quote over here, and it says, "There is nothing in the world so irresistibly contagious as laughter and good humor." And that is by Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens from A Christmas Carol. And then John had brought home some pizza from the meat market that we visit to get our stuff. And I tried to journal about it a little bit, and the fountain pen I was using at the time had a major leak. Major leak. So it spread here, and it was just all puddled up. And when I tried to sop it up, it just spread, and then it was still really, really wet, so I just kind of took the nib and just kind of sloshed it over that way. So hence we have major leak. Yeah, so I had to try to make that part of the page art, but I did journal about that a little bit. I came home after rehearsal and had some beer. We had our Miller Lite. And then on Monday, we had rehearsal again. And then I, came home after rehearsal, and I was still thinking about Alan Rickman and all that. So I watched the 2 parts of the Deathly Hallows, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and Part 2. And, of course, had some beer while I was watching that. And then we had Poor Boys for dinner that night. Because we get 6 of them in a pack, and then we have you know, we each get one, so we do 3 one night, and then we do 3 a couple of nights afterwards, so they don't spoil. And then over here, this is Frostiana, which is we're going to be doing selections from this piece of music here. And Frostiana is some of Robert Frost's poems that was set to music by, I think his name was Randall Stevens or Stevenson or something like that. So I found a picture of that on the internet and just pasted that in there. So I thought that was pretty cool. On Tuesday, I did some filming because my Visconti Hall of Music came in, yay! And I did a video on that, and I'll put that in the description if you guys are interested in seeing that little look and review kind of thing. So I put a picture of my Sony Bloggy camera in there, which is what I used to film with. And we had some more pizza with our espresso this morning. And then over here, now this is pretty cool. Over here, I was just kind of on the internet just messing around a little bit, and I came across something called the Virtual Choir, which was done by this guy named Eric Whitaker, who is a composer and so forth, and a choir director and all that. And he had this idea of putting this together after somebody sang I think it was a soprano line of one of his songs and sent it to him. And so he made a call out to people who wanted to participate to, he picked out one of his songs that he had written and asked people to send in their videos of themselves singing whatever part that they were on. And then they put it all together and kind of came up with this virtual choir. So it has just grown and grown and grown over the years. And like always, I'm pretty well late to the party, so I didn't get in on it when it actually started happening at first. But I'm hoping that if they do it again, I'll be able to, you bet your boots, I'm going to get in on that. And of course, we had some Miller Lite that evening. We're always having Miller Lite, it seems. And during the day, I had to call the XM radio people because I subscribe to Sirius and XM radio, and my signal was bad. Like, my channels weren't coming in, and my subscription was still good, so I had to call them up and have them send me a signal down to my radio so that I could access everything. So that was a bit of an annoyance, but I got that taken care of. And then I have this old image of a phone here because I was actually on the phone quite a bit with a friend of mine, Juanita, and we're on this writing group together, and so we were, you know, kind of talking storylines and stuff like that. So that was Tuesday, and then Wednesday, the pages are sticking together. Wednesday, I messed up this page here a little bit, which I'll have to explain. Wednesday, I was listening to another old-time radio show. It's called Lights Out, and that is kind of they classified it as a horror or thriller radio show. Now, this is, I was talking about old-time radio in one of my other videos, which I love. It was the time before TV started and when TV had just begun. They had these old radio shows, and Lights Out was one of them. And this was classified as a horror or thriller kind of show. So it's very tame to what we have now, but back in the day it was pretty scary. And actually some of the stories are quite scary, even now. You know, they had a few of where they did like a end of the world kind of thing, and one of them was this guy got into a fight with his wife and called her a cat, and she actually did turn into a cat. So, you know, just stuff like that. It's pretty cool. And then another image of a phone here because I was actually on the phone with Juanita once again. So we were talking storylines and all that. And then this pen here, as you can see, I have another fountain pen here. John and I ordered... this is a Pelican M800. It's called the Grand Place, and it's a limited edition. So we ordered, both of us, we ordered one each for both of us, and we're looking forward to those coming in. So I was journaling about that a little bit. And then I shot, I was actually watching some videos on my iPad, so I put that there, put a picture of an iPad there. And of course, more Miller Lite. More Miller Lite. So then on Thursday, we just had a Lions Club meeting that night, and so I have the Lions Club logo, and then was journaling about that a little bit. And then I was trying to find something else to put in here, and I really like this one movie called Anne of the Thousand Days, which was done in 1969. It had Richard Burton in it, and the gal that played Anne Boleyn, Genevieve, oh boy, and I can never pronounce her last name, but you guys can Google it up on YouTube and read about that. But I really liked that movie, and so I found this picture where she was in this one costume, and I thought she looked really pretty here. So I cut this picture out and pasted it in. Now, I had a little problem because and this is where I messed up this page, I had a little problem because it kind of got all bunched up, like as I was placing it, it creased up and got all bunched up, and I tried to peel it off, and the sticker paper that I'm using is not repositionable, so once it's down, it's pretty well down, and this paper is so thin that it just rips so easily, so I kind of ripped it up here a little bit as I was trying to get it off, and I was able to get some of it straightened out, but I still got a big crease right there, so I'm not happy about that. And then I had to kind of, fudge things back together a little bit, so hence a little washi tape, not the prettiest, and which I'm not happy about, but, what do you do? Okay, then on Friday, I wasn't feeling so well. Like, I got up, and I had a headache. My sinuses were just, I had a really, really nasty sinus headache, and then, the asthma was kicking in along with that, and my stomach was kind of queasy. So I really wasn't feeling too well that day. So I had been thinking about rewatching Anne of the Thousand Days, so I did that. I watched that movie as I was lazing about in bed, because I really wasn't good for much of anything except just lazing around in bed and curling up with a book or a movie or something with the iPad. Gotta love my iPad, I really do. And then, so for anything... so I just kind of lazed around in bed, as I said, so just feeling sick. And then this day, or, for lack of anything better to put in here, once I was up on the computer, I found this picture of my, I don't have this golden retriever anymore because she's dead now, lung cancer of all things. But I found this one picture of her, which is probably my favorite picture of her, just really cute and set up in the little wagon. I mean, it was just set up so perfectly, and she kind of knew to pose, because she knew that she was in front of the camera, so she's like, well, I'm going to pose for that, and I mean, she just did it perfectly. So that's Abby in the wagon. And then Saturday we had another Lions Club meeting function that we went to, and so that lasted during the morning and then into the afternoon a little bit. And then we had gone to Barnes & Noble, where I did some shopping and got all those journals that you saw in this one haul video in my Barnes & Noble haul. I'll link that video in the description if you guys want to see that. But as we were in the checkout line, we noticed that Caleb had a little problem. Caleb, I am visually impaired, so Caleb is my leader dog, so he goes with me everywhere. And we noticed that he had a little problem as we were in the Barnes & Noble checkout line. Kind of a long story, but him and our other dog, Turbo, got into a little bit of a scrap, and Caleb kind of lost, and so he got hit a little bite on his head. And it ended up getting inflamed, and it was starting to leak blood and stuff. So we noticed it when we were in the checkout line at Barnes & Noble. So we had to take him into the emergency. Had to take him into the vet as an emergency. So that wasn't fun. And so we had to get antibiotics and anti-inflammatories and stuff for him because he was not too good, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty, and it wasn't fun. So that was Saturday. And Sunday, we had lasagna for dinner that night. I had choir rehearsal again, as you can see up here. Choir rehearsal again. Came home and had lasagna for dinner. And then I was listening to... As I was lying in bed, I was listening to another radio show, old-time radio show called The Sealed Book. And this is a drama, I guess, like a sci-fi drama kind of thing. The premise is that, like, all the stories... Okay, guys, sorry about that. So the premise of this one is that all the stories that were ever told, ever written, was written down in this one big book that holds, like, all of history and everything. And, so they have the thing in the beginning where they flip through the book to try to find a story to tell. And usually it's like a murder or like a murder mystery or some kind of a science fiction thing, which is pretty cool. I really enjoy that one. It wasn't really on that long. I think it went through one season, and I think there were maybe 24 shows or something like that. So it wasn't one that lasted very long, but it was a good show anyway. So that was Sunday. Monday, it was off to the vet for Caleb again, because we had to take him back in for a follow-up after his incident. And so they had to, poor guy, they shaved around the area where he was hurt, so that we could see it a bit more and just see how it was doing, because, obviously it was covered up by the fur, but poor guy, he's got a big bald spot on his head now. But it's starting to grow back, but it's going to take a while. But, he's on the mend, he's doing well, and all that good stuff. So I journaled about that. And then down here I have witty comebacks, because I was actually on the Facebook chat thing, the Facebook Messenger, where you can actually do voice chat with one of my subscribers who actually liked my Skype laughter chain video. So we were just, we had gotten on the subject of comebacks for when somebody does something like really stupid or whatever. So we were laughing about that. And so that was pretty cool. Okay, so Tuesday was just kind of a lazy day. I caught up on some TV shows that I had missed. We were watching The Big Sleuser and Top Chef and Hell's Kitchen, so I journaled about that. Not really much to say about that day, except for just catching up on that stuff that I had missed. And then Wednesday, again, really not too much happened. I was just saying that I was still reading Wizard and Glass. It's taking me a while to get through that book, because I'd been listening to some other things like the Old Time Radio and doing some other stuff. So I've not really been diligently, I could have gotten through it by then, but I was doing some other stuff. So yeah, but I just said that I was still reading that one. And then I was listening to Suspense, which I talked about, that Old Time Radio show. So I won't go through that again. It's a drama. And then now Thursday, I really didn't have anything to put in here, so I just kind of journaled about what happened that day. It was like, what did I say? Okay. Yeah, it was pretty much a lazy day, except for when I'm rearranging some stuff on my bookshelf, like I'm cleaning out my bookshelves and doing some rearranging and stuff, and so I was working on that. That's pretty much all that happened that day. And then Friday, my 3 journals and 2 fountain pens arrived, and I shot a video on that Amazon haul. So that's on my channel if you guys want to see that. So it just says, journals and pens, oh my. So that was that, on that day. That was on a Friday. And then Saturday, we had eye exams. We had all 3 of us had to go in to get our eyes examined, for our yearly checkup. And I tried to draw an eye. Now, as I said in other videos, I am not an artist, so it kind of looks more freaky than anything else. But I put an eye exam chart down here and journaled about that. And then after we got done with the eye exams, we came back, and we had there's a little Mexican restaurant that we have here in town, and so I had enchiladas. Totally pigged out on enchiladas, and then I. This huge margarita, man, I put 2 of those things away. Oh my gosh, yeah. So it was like Margaritaville, big time. Enchiladas and margaritas. So needless to say, after we got home, all of us, because we were up at like 6 o'clock that morning. So, once we got home, I mean, it was like good night world, see you next week kind of thing. So then on Sunday, I made a pretty good dent in Wizard and Glass. I had almost finished it yesterday. Actually, this page was from yesterday. I'd actually almost finished it yesterday. I would have finished it yesterday if I hadn't fallen asleep kind of early on. Yay, big time, major. And then it was just kind of a lazy Sunday, so, you know, we drank a lot of coffee, and so I just kind of journaled about that a little bit. And that is January 15th through the 31st. Now, I have something big to share with you guys in February, which I'm going to make another video about. So I was going to share with you guys the sneak peek of my February 1st page, but I'm not going to do that because I don't want to reveal that until I put up another video explaining actually this project that I'm doing. So, and then I'm going to blog about. So I'm not going to show you February 1st page. So that is January 15th through the 31st. I hope you guys enjoyed this flip through. And if you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel to see more of this kind of thing. And we'll talk to you guys later in the next video. Okay, bye guys.